definitely rewatchable. Fun way to end Phase 5. Hope we see some of these characters again. And Ironheart is a villain. That's it. That's what I got.
Hello and welcome to Made the Review. Be with you with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick. And today we are talking about the end of Phase 5 in the MCU. Of course, the miniseries, television series Ironheart concluded recently. 6-episode television miniseries. Phase 5 is now over. And this, so much happened in 6 episodes. We got to see Riri Williams again, aka Ironheart, which was awesome. I think she's one of my favorite newer characters that the MCU's introduced. And yeah, not only did we get some new characters in this show, some crazy things went down. We basically got an Iron Man suit with some magic going on, and I don't even know where to start. Joe, kick us off.
Yeah. This show came and went so fast. First off, let me just say, yeah, I guess like you said, it was good to see Dominique Thorne back in the suit after getting to see her in Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever, right? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Sorry, there have been so many movies and shows since Phase 3. It's kind of wild, which does bring us to the topic here of we are at the end of Phase 5, which I don't know if that means anything anymore. I was thinking about like the phases, right, and where we've been since Endgame, and really I was thinking about Phase 5 and how we're supposed to be heading toward, the new version of Endgame, right? Secret Wars and what is it? Doom World? No, not Doom World. What's it called?
Doomsday.
Thank you. God, it was so much easier. I made it so hard on myself. We're supposedly like marching to that. And I was looking at the films and TV shows that were listed in Phase 5, and there are 12 properties, right, including Ironheart. And when I was looking at what's relevant, or what appears to be relevant for those two big ensemble movies that we're leading toward, only 6 were relevant. So like half of Phase 5, not important. Ultimately.
Wow. Jesus, you heard it here first, folks. Half of Phase 5 is not important according to Joe.
It isn't. It that's not according to me, all right? That's according to the blueprint Marvel has laid out before us, okay? If you're gonna sit here and tell me that, even though I love Agatha all along, and I think that was probably the best thing to come out of Phase 5, if you're gonna tell me Agatha all along is important to Doomsday, you're out of your mind.
Oh man, I hope you're proven wrong somehow in some way, shape, or form.
You know what? I would love that too. Agatha's amazing. Honestly, Phase 5 could be saved with more Agatha. It would be so much better. But in any case, we're here to talk about Ironheart. A show I think I ultimately like. I think overall it was kind of a middle of the pack Marvel show for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit higher than middle of the road. Overall, awesome. I enjoyed it. I love the crossover between magic and tech. And we really haven't seen that yet. And I guess 5 phases in, they gotta figure out new things to do, but it's kind of shocking in a way that we haven't got maybe more of a crossover in that sense. That was really cool though, how they went about like exploring that, right? With her kind of finding herself in this shop and meeting a young witch, if you will, and then having her essentially kind of like cast a spell to integrate the magic with the suit. Just kind of hard to wrap my head around the implications of that, and we of course don't really know all of it. The other thing that's really cool about this show that I loved is like the biggest question for me is Ironheart a hero or a villain? And we don't have the answer for that, really. I think you can make a case both ways. And judging by how this show ended, I think it's trending more towards potential villain, which is unexpected based on what I was thinking going into the show. So that's kind of the quick things that come to my mind.
I don't know if she's straight up just going to be a villain. Yeah, I don't think it's quite that like, cut and dry. Yeah, I think Riri, like, from what we've seen of her in this show, she appears to be a character that's like painted in multitudes, right? Like, ultimately, she wants to do good, I think, with her suit, and she wants to make an impression on the world bigger than Stark, bigger than Pym, right?
Right.
But the way that she's trying to get there is highly questionable, which I think just makes her all the more compelling. I'll say this, just into like a quick review of the show. Like, this show was given to us in basically like kind of 2 short movies, right? Like we had 3 episodes released and then 3 episodes released back to back weeks, right? First 3 episodes, I thought were mostly pretty solid. In fact, I loved where it ended with the Hood begging his employer for help, only to get that shadowy reveal that the employer is probably Mephisto, right? The way that the shadow comes out.
Yeah.
To which, spoilers, it's Mephisto. But yeah, 4, 5, and 6, I didn't like as much. Episode 4 I thought was compelling. Episode 5 I thought was the sloppiest of the entire show. Episode 6 saved it a bit for me, but it felt extremely rushed. I like where we went with Riri and Mephisto, but I don't know if I quite buy her immediately. You know what it was? There's back and forth on whether or not she believes the projection of Natalie is real, right? And it goes back and forth with her, but I felt like I never got a great consensus on where she was with it until Natalie's actually gone, right? And at this point, she kind of has like an emotional freak out, and she's trying to grasp onto any form of Natalie that she can, which is, of course, ultimately how we get the decision with Mephisto. I don't think I buy the emotional freak out, because where last we left it, she wasn't on board with the fact that this was any sort of. She was siding with Natalie's brother, right? That like this is not healthy. This is not real.
Yeah, they didn't.
Or
sell
at least
that.
That's the way it seemed. Yeah,
that didn't sell hard, and it really, her decision at the end definitely felt rushed. Like getting to that decision, right, to basically make a deal with the devil, and bring her friend back to life, which that opens up so many doors in the MCU. Now we're talking about like how alive are we talking? Like nothing happened. She's just back. No weird like symptoms or things like that. Like I'm sure that has to get explored maybe at some point if they do another series or in maybe a future movie. Who knows? So many questions come up from that, and they didn't even sell it to us properly. So it's like a little hard to wrap your head around, right? Like she was just an AI, and from what we gathered, Riri was on board with her being an AI, acknowledging that it was weird that that's how the AI manifested itself. But maybe there's, in some way, maybe we'll find out that Mephisto is the one who actually manifested the AI to be that way, because
yes,
he wants her to make the deal, and I think his long play obviously was always her anyway, and so we might find out that he's the one who actually made that AI happen in that way so that she would make this deal that she ends up making at the end.
As soon as episode 3 teased Mephisto, that's exactly where my mind went. I was like, oh, that's why this AI construct is weird. That's why she doesn't know what this is.
And
it's
how
him.
it happened. Like,
and how it happened.
She can't figure out how it happened. Like, this tech genius can't figure out why. Like,
right. And it also explains how Zelma, when Zelma creates the spell over the new Ironheart suit, and she's like, there's always a cost. I don't know what it's going to be, but it'll be something. And it just happens to be the AI construct, right? It feels very convenient that was like the thing, right?
That almost seals the theory, because like magic canceled out the magic that was going on that Riri couldn't explain. Dude, that's
or at least the magic, or at least the magic took the magic, right? It latched out to something, right?
Right, exactly.
That's the way it felt to me.
Dude, that almost seals that. That makes me think. That's a great point. That makes me think that that's exactly the bigger picture for sure.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
sure.
While we're on the topic of Mephisto, who is ultimately like our granddaddy villain of the show, and who presumably Marvel has more plans for, although that feels weird with like Phase 6 and Doomsday right around the corner. Um, Sacha Baron Cohen. So this was slightly spoiled for me, because I accidentally saw like that. I guess it's not a huge spoiler because like they announced he was in the casting well before like he made his appearance. But when I saw that, I got so excited. I was like, "Oh, that feels like strictly from an artistic standpoint, that felt like a really great choice." And like watching him do it, I don't know how you felt about Nick. I really liked his performance of
Oh yeah,
changing the accents up. He felt menacing. He felt fun. Like
yeah,
felt the way I want the devil to be.
yeah. He crushed that. That was fantastic. I have no notes for him there. He did such a good job. I really hope we see him again and soon. You know, the problem is it was such a small release for Marvel. They barely promoted this thing. It felt like the show is pretty solid. I think it's a cool way to round out Phase 5, but like you said,
Where
I
are we
don't
going
think.
with this?
Yeah, what's next? Like, are we going to see them in any of these Avengers films? It doesn't feel like that at all. I don't think we do. So, like, when is the next time we see Ironheart and
Mm.
Mephisto? Like, yes, Mephisto could show up in another series, right? Now that they teased him, that's probably more likely. We probably see him before we see Ironheart again.
I could
Um,
definitely see it happening in like the White Vision show that's supposed to happen.
yeah, possible.
Mm.
But it's
I
so
say that only
strange.
because that's supposed White Vision's supposed to be like the end of the trilogy for
Yeah,
WandaVision, right?
WandaVision,
So
Agatha All Along, and White Vision is the
right,
trilogy
and
completion. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Mephisto got a name drop in Agatha all along. So like, feels like if he's gonna reappear anywhere, that's probably where it's gonna happen.
yeah, that makes sense. But like, yeah, it still just leaves so many questions about where Ironheart's story is going. And man, like, she wants to do good, but eventually, if you do too many bad things, it's just hard to come back from. You
Yeah.
know, and she's now on that track to where she's gonna have to do things that are against her will because she's made a deal with the devil. And so, like, this is why to me it's like hero or villain. And yeah, she might not be a full blown villain yet, but she is trending in that direction more than she is trending in the hero direction. So
Nick, never before on this show have I agreed with you so much, and I don't know if the show is gonna actually let this happen because like yeah, the deal with the devil, not a great look, bad look.
right,
Going out, stealing things with with Chicago thugs, not a good look. Leaving someone for dead, right? Like that's. I mean, I don't want to say that she straight up like murdered him, but like, like it was very
very
much like a
questionable
Batman scene.
decisions.
Yeah, like it's the scene at the end of Batman Begins, right, where he's like, I don't. What does he say? He's like, I don't have to save you, or no, I don't have to beat you, but I don't have to save you either. Like, is
Yeah,
that the line? Yeah,
something.
yeah, but like he knew what he was doing.
Yeah,
um,
like it's
and I thought that there were going to be some real consequences for that, and basically our secondary villain Zeke ultimately takes the fall for this, and Riri is washed of this almost immediately.
right.
um,
Which speaking of like literally zero consequences, but to transition real quick to Ezekiel, we get Ezekiel Stan. Like what such a to me such a random reveal to get.
oh,
Um
right, that Stain is like involved in this.
yeah, it's like Stain's involved and it's played by Alden Ehrenreich, whatever his name is. It's Han Solo basically, young Han
Alden
Solo.
Ehrenreich.
Thank you, Alden Ehrenreich. Like I like him a lot. I actually liked him in Han Solo. So it was really cool to see him randomly in the show. Like I did not look at the casting beforehand, so to me it was like a total surprise. So I enjoyed it. And at first I was like, oh cool, Riri's gonna have another tech esque like genius to help her like build her team out, you know? And then he just ends up being like borderline mentally unstable as well. And it's like his father was, you know, and it just all of a sudden he becomes this bionic man, you know, and just it just got a little weird for me. Like I was just like, wait, what are we doing? Like I wanted like a
This was
sidekick
actually,
partner, not
yeah. I thought that
crazy
they were gonna.
criminal.
Sorry,
Sorry, no, I'm done.
I agree. I thought that we were going to do something more interesting with him, other than have him go down the obvious like villain role. I kind of liked their dynamic when he's just this goofy bumbling guy who's got
Yeah,
aspirations, and she's
right.
kind of helping him break out of that shell, right? I thought that was interesting. Episode 5, where he's like, "I'm gonna beat you up." Like I sort of get like his anger, but I don't know. There's a lot about episode 5 that just like did not work for me. The White Castle fight I actually kind of enjoyed.
That was awesome. That was so
Yeah, I thought it was really creative. It was really
Yeah,
neat. It sort of reminded me of like how would Tony Stark react without his armor, right? Like that
right,
felt to me that felt more like this is the heir apparent of Tony Stark than like anything else that she's done, right? Which is
right.
nothing against the character. There are times where I see Riri Williams and I'm like, I get that she admires uh Iron Man, right? But like I've never been able to see her, at least in the MCU, as the heir apparent with like, her relations to like Wakanda, and like really no one else, right? Like, um,
Right.
but that scene, I was like, yeah, that's a Tony thing to do. Love that.
Yeah,
Um,
very resourceful, like in that
mhm.
scene, right? That was very cool.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, that fight with Zeke, it's weird. I hate how fast he's upgraded. Like it's
right.
weirdly fast.
Yeah,
Time like did not matter in that episode, like at
right.
all.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and for him to just be like, I'm tripping with power and I'm gonna beat you up, and it seems like he's going for the kill, and he's just like, I don't want to beat you up that bad. It's okay.
right. It's like
It's like what?
pick one. Be
Pick a
evil
lane, dude.
or don't,
Um,
and then they like force him to be evil with the mind control thing, and it's
I
just like,
will say, I thought the mind control thing was actually kind of funny.
like what are we doing?
It's silly considering like how dark the implication actually is.
Right.
But Alden's acting in that is hilarious. It's
Yeah.
really really
Yeah.
good.
He does a great job there for sure.
Mm.
Crazy. Yeah. So I don't know. What else is on your mind on your list?
When I saw Anthony Ramos was going to be the Hood in this show, that surprised me. And at first, I was like, "Oh, I don't buy this." Anthony Ramos, at least for me, very famous for like Hamilton or In the Heights. So I felt very weird about that at first. But Jude's got a lot of charisma, and for the most part, I think he really nailed it for me. Um, I think his character was written in really weird ways. Like he's ultimately just a pissed off nepo baby. And and like I was like, oh, that's not as interesting as I was hoping that he would be. And like he's just driven by money, and it's like, wow, that's
Yeah, he's just
this
driven
character seems
financially,
cooler
and
than yeah.
he's Mephisto's pawn just to get to Riri, basically. Like that's all he is. And
I hope that this is what it is. That this idea that we're coming up with, that like that he's just that there's a greater plan that Mephisto has had in store for Riri, right?
yeah,
And like the Hood was his way of getting there.
I think
I hope
think
that's what it is.
I think it's pretty clear, especially after everything we just talked about. And now she also has the hood, which like, I mean, she is trending into just being a villain. The more I talk about this now, I'm just like, I don't think she might not do another good thing ever again. Like the chips are stacked against her from being a hero, and that's disappointing because she's awesome, and I want her to be a hero, and I don't know, man. I just don't know.
She is awesome. I really enjoy I really enjoy her humor in this show. I think some of my favorite scenes were just watching Riri and Natalie talk. They were great together. We haven't talked about the music on this show. I freaking loved the music on this show. One of my favorite lines is from Zeke when he says, "At least we'll always have Alanis Morissette." How do you say her first name? I never get this right.
Alanis Morissette.
Alanis. At least we'll always have Alanis. It's like that. That was hilarious. I loved that.
Yeah, the music was great. Marvel, yeah, crushed it. Soundtrack score done by Dara Taylor. I looked her up. Honestly, I don't think the other thing she's done a lot of other stuff, but nothing that I don't think I've even seen. So I love when I watch something and the score is noticeable, and then you look up the person and you're like, this is someone I don't think I've been introduced to. So it's just like a really cool way to get introduced to another composer, basically, like, or puts together the soundtracks and all these things. So that was cool. Great call out for sure.
I have one last thing I got to bring up, and I think it is for me probably the biggest like flaw in the show, and I think it's like almost laughable. Now I want to preface this by saying I do like this show, but there is some logic here that doesn't make any sense, and it is so dumb in my perspective, right? So like, Riri has to understand. God, this goes twofold actually. All right, so Riri is upset that the Hood could figure out that she is responsible, or she wants to get out, right? She wants to get out of the gang, and she's afraid of the Hood, so she's gotta try and figure out his power set. And to do this, she's got to cut the cape, right? In this plan, right? She cuts the cape, tries to dissect the cape. Eventually, we go to Zelma. Zelma's like, "Yo, you got to get rid of that. That cape is wild." And her mom is like, "Yo, you got to destroy that. I'm not gonna tell you how, but you got to destroy that, right?" And then we get this montage of her like trying to like destroy the cape. Nick, she cut the cape with a laser, and she can't figure out how to destroy. Use the laser. What do you mean you can't figure this out? Just use the laser. It worked. Just use the laser. Just use the laser. You don't even need magic. Just use your science. Apparently, is better than magic. Use the laser. I don't understand the logic of this at all. And she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I need to fight magic with magic. It's like, no, just use science. Just science apparently kicks this thing's ass.
That's such a mean flaw. Oh God, dude. Yeah, right? That sucks. That sucks. Actually, I didn't even think about that.
Right, it totally takes the tension out of the whole climax.
Was fun. The montage scene was fun. I love a good montage scene. But actually, now that you've mentioned that, it makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. Just use the laser.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah, that sucks. That's shit. They should have set it up somehow and just been like, how were you even able to cut this? This is not penetrable, something like that, and then went to the montage scene. It made it. They could have easily made it unexplainable. Well, that's gonna bother me for the rest of the year.
It kind of ruins like so much of the show, honestly.
Okay, well, the show's ruined.
Also, okay, so now that we're really like taking our shots at the show, okay, real quick here. So like Riri like is worried about like what the Hood can do, and like to be fair, maybe she's trying to take this from every angle. She's like, magic. I don't understand magic. Who knows what he's capable of? However, we as the audience sort of do. By the time we get to the climax, he can turn invisible, and he can curve bullets. Eventually, he kind of has super strength too. She has a metal suit that shoots lasers. I don't know, if he's invisible, just throw flour. Like, every cartoon does it. Like, what are we so afraid of here? Like, you're in a metal suit. Again, science wins. Like, just use science. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. You're just, we've reached the nitpicking point of the episode.
Yeah, you're right. I got nothing else to say.
Throw powder. Listen, that's what the magic was for. They used the magic, and then he wasn't invisible anymore.
That was sick. And that was sick.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, when she lights him up on radar, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, hey, yeah, I got nothing else.
Well, we got to rate it.
Well, we will rate it. 7.4.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.
Yeah,
I'd watch it again.
Yeah,
I thought it was mostly pretty solid. Outside of maybe if I watch it again with the laser thing in mind, maybe it'll go lower. But like overall, on first watch, I give it a 7.
Yeah, definitely rewatchable. Fun way to end Phase 5. Hope we see some of these characters again. And Ironheart is a villain. That's it. That's what I got.
Doomsday, Riri Williams.
Whoa!
Plot twist. Ooh.
Plot twist. My goodness. Anything else on your end?
Nah, that's it for me, man. I enjoy the show. Go watch the show.
Awesome. Well, coming up next, of course, big release, Superman, and then followed by the Fantastic Four, First Steps. So it's going to be a crazy
summer.
Crazy couple weeks here, superhero summer. So stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button. Let us know in the comments what you think about Ironheart and what you're excited about in the future. You can also find us on Threads. And until next time,
may the review be with you.
Peace.